Hello. It's episode 37. We have been doing this since July last year, and we're 8 months deep. So I decided it was a good time to catch up with some of our former guests and what they have been up to. Today's episode is called Peeling Potatoes, revealing what our guests have been up to. First one up is Sparky Kulu. Sparky Kulu was our very first guest ever. When he was chatting to us, he had just received a Royalty Soapy Award for his role on The Estate, which launched on S3, which is the rebranded version of SABC3 in 2021. Sparky was introduced to us through The Herd. The reason I invited Spark is that we actually went to the same university. We went to Rhodes University. He was my senior. He was in the drama department. And when I saw him on TV and I saw a billboard of him at Randburg Taxi Rank, I was like, you know what? Let me talk to this guy because I know him personally, and that's how he came. And he really opened the door for all of the guests that followed and gave the African couch potato some credibility. And now we're able to get more and more guests. So The Herd was in 2018 on Mzansi Magic. Then after that, the following year, he did Isipho, which was also on Mzansi Magic in 2019. When we were speaking to him last year, he said he was working on stuff that was soon to come out. The stuff that he was referring to was an animation which he did voiceover work for, and it was called Super Team 4 on Netflix. He was also on Good Men, which was on SABC, and you can catch that on SABC Plus, which is their new streaming service. Since then, he has been featured on Inamba Josie Gold, which is on Netflix, and a recent one which came out in February, a Soweto love story. I spoke about a Soweto love story in the previous episodes, and he is dating Luyanda Zwane. So for those of you who don't know who Luyanda Zwane is, Luyanda, called Lou, was introduced to us in Shaga Ilembe, which came out last year. We then saw her as a student on Miss Education. Miss Education is a series that's set in Grahamstown, where it's a bunch of post-teens who are attending Makanda University, and it's basically everything that happens in terms of student life. And she is a girl from a previously disadvantaged background, and she has to work her way through the years so that she can obviously afford toiletries, etc. And her roommate is a bit of a rich bish, and it's that clash of personalities. We also saw her in Outlaws as a nurse. Outlaws is the show that Nolwazi Shange was on. Nolwazi Shange is also our previous guest, who was in episode 16. Luyanda now leads a show called Sbongile and the Dlaminis. And because she's the lead, she's obviously Sbongile. And she was also featured as Amina on a series called Classified on Netflix. The second guest that we caught up with is Jefferson Shabalala. Jefferson Shabalala, you guys will remember from Big Nunu's Little Heist, which is on Netflix, which I absolutely loved. From the comedic timing to the improv to the action sequences, it was brilliantly done. He has recently been promoting his clothing label called Scene Pa, and he also has some written work called Kongolose Commanding Commissars, Ekaslami, and Poetotype. So these are plays that he's been writing, and Poetotype was performed 2 weeks back at AFDA. The third guest that we are profiling is Shonisani Masuta. Shonisani was the first African female to have a role in a Bollywood series, and that Bollywood series was called Mehek, and it's available on Zee World. She is now promoting her braid collection, Shonisani Braid, and recently launched the Omba range. Another female doing great things is Shalate. Shalate is Shoki on House of Zwido. She was episode 12. She also was featured as Tulani's girlfriend in Clever-ish. Now, I remember reviewing Clever-ish. It's on Prime Video. It's basically the story of a goody two-shoes who falls in love with a girl and has to now win the girl. But the only way that he can win this girl over is by not being a goody two-shoes. So he was the friend's girlfriend, Tulani's girlfriend. When we spoke to her the last time, she had released a body of music, and now she has shot the music video for her song Can You See Us? She has also started a YouTube channel, and on the 13th of April, she'll be having a music performance in Braamfontein. The show will be called New Age, and tickets are on Quicket. Episode 13 saw us talking to Sanele Zulu. Sanele Zulu is the director for Scandal on ETV. He's also a SAFTA-winning director, having worked on Losing Lerato. Since we spoke to him, he has directed a couple of episodes on Your Christmas, which was absolutely brilliant, and also Soon Comes Night. Both of these are available on Netflix. Episode 15 was a very long talk with Jack Devnarain, whom you guys will know as Rajesh Kumar from Isidingo. Jack is also the custodian of the South African Guild of Actors, and what they've been trying to do is give a voice to performing artists to make sure that they get remunerated and compensated for all of their hard work. He is currently hosting a show called Reality Radio on 919 FM. It is every Friday from 6 p.m. until 7. So far, the most notable guests have been comedian Joey Rastin, broadcaster Tim Widise, and actor Hlomla Dandala. Episode 16 was with Nolwazi Shange. She was the one who was telling us about being a casting director, how she got into a world of casting director. She's an actress herself, so it's that dual role of what are some of the things that she can find for other people to excel in, and what were some of the roles where she felt like, I could do this a bit better. In terms of her acting career, you'll recognize her as Nandi in Outlaws, which is on Showmax, A Place Called Home, which used to be on SABC, Othello Burning, and the second season of Intersections. After 2 years of a hiatus, she went back into designing clothes, which I didn't know she used to do. And in December, her stuff was displayed at Africa Rice store in SANTE. One of her pieces was worn by fellow actress Rami Chwene. And you can see all of those pictures on her Instagram at Nolwazi Shangwe. Moving on to episode 18, we featured Siphiwe Hlabangani. Siphiwe Hlabangani is a film and series producer. I first met him on the set of Inamba Namba. I recognized him because he used to be an actor on Mhlongo, which still plays on SABC. 2, we then exchanged contacts. He joined us in studio last year to chat about his journey from being an actor to a producer. And that episode, if you're looking for it, came out on November 6th. I remember it came out on November 6th because that is my son Asante's birthday. He, as a producer, has since gone on to work on Single Guys, which was for SABC, a movie called Winnie Mandela, which came out in 2011. Table Manners came out in 2018. And I take a pause because I tried watching Table Manners and I did not know what was going on. There is a green table. There are people. They are talking. You don't know what they're saying. You don't know if people are going to get killed. It's on Showmax if you want to go and endure the suffering I did. And then there's Shayna or Shaina, because also this is Africa. So you don't know if it's Shayna, or Shaina. That came out in 2020. And then the most recognized of all of these properties is The Wife, which is on Showmax. I think he joined them for season 3. And now, in February, he produced a Soweto love story, which is the one that Sparky Kulu from episode 4 was in, to show you that all things come together harmoniously in this universe. Episode 21, we spoke to behind-the-scenes guy, editor and director, Chad Pop. I met Chad Pop at TNW. TNW is a sports promo agency, which means that they do a lot of promos or a lot of adverts, short commercials for sporting pieces, particularly for Supersport. He worked on Chasing the Sun. So Chasing the Sun was the journey of the Springboks and how they won the previous World Cup. And now, on the 25th of March, Chasing the Sun 2 comes out to show how they won the World Cup again. So I would suggest that you watch Chasing the Sun, the first one, and then on the 25th of March, you can catch up on the second one or watch both of them on the same day. I saw him again when he was directing a commercial for SABC, and he also edited a Huawei Nova commercial featuring DJ Tira and Clement Mawosa from Skimsa. I'm still trying to get Clement Mawosa in studio because I feel that he's got a very powerful story to tell. He literally grew up with us on television. When we were younger, from high school at 6:30, we would watch Scheme Sam, and he was there in high school. Then he left to go to TURF. So just a child star who is still in the same production he was in 15 years ago when he was introduced to us. That's why I want to get him in here. And back to Chad, he has since directed the Nedbank Cup promo for SuperSport. As mentioned earlier on in today's episode, I'm recapping on the guests we have had in studio, and I'm bringing you up to speed with what they're currently doing. Our rising star, Mhlongo, was episode 22. I am very fond of Mfanelo. I met him over 10 years ago when I was 23, and I was doing a community journalism course at various high schools across South Africa. I used to travel a lot. I was like a rock star. I would spend 3 days in a different town, then you drive to the next town and just basically upskilling kids, giving them the tools that they needed to, one, broaden their horizons in terms of what career they want to go into, and two, to self-empower themselves to be able to report on pressing matters such as teenage pregnancy, substance abuse, domestic violence, etc. He was one of my pupils, and he was one of those super focused participants that I knew was going to grow up and become something. Then we lost touch, and I think he only reached out to me last year, and I was like, I definitely have to get you in studio. If you don't remember, he founded Film Tukasi, which screens movies in the townships. And after that, in December, he was invited to speak at a Gauteng Film Commission conference. Then he went to Cape Town, and he went quad biking in Cape Town. I'm not sure for what. He went to a Black Coffee concert. I'm also not sure for what. But it's just good to see people living their best lives. Coming back to the film and TV space, he directed a music video called Uthando Lwami, which is currently on MTV Base. And recently, now in February, he hosted a one-day workshop called Youth Empowerment and Film Screening. All of this is proof that so much can happen in your year, and that you don't have to be hard on yourself if your things are not moving. You just have to keep at what you're doing, and eventually there'll be a breakthrough. And speaking of breakthroughs, I found out this morning when I was on Facebook that a girl that I'd gone to school with, her name is Princess Mhlongo, has produced a movie called Inkabi, which is currently streaming on Netflix. So Princess was about 5 years ahead of me, but I remember everything about that woman. She had a contagious smile. She wore stockings under a decently sized skirt because it had to be 2 fingers above the knees. And then she also had those nun shoes where it's like they can't offend Jesus, so it's like a heel, but it's not really a heel. It's what Crocs were before Crocs came out. They usually come out in navy. It's like to make your feet comfortable. It's got like a wide sole, but like a very short heel to show that you're a self-respecting schoolgirl, but you are a cut above the rest. And now she is in Brazil, and she's currently doing a tour in Sao Paulo in Brazil. And when she gets back, I really want to get her into studio. I've just asked some of my people to get me her number, and they sent her number through. So I'll be contacting her. And I think it will be just great to sit down with somebody who is not only from the same town, but from the same school. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned before, but Witbank is traditionally a mining town. Everybody works at Eskom. There used to be like Highveld Steel. Everything that happens around there is industrial. So things like the arts are not seen as important. So you now have like this young group of people, Nehemiah Chachi, Howard Chachi, now Princess Mhlongo, breaking out of that cycle to come to Joburg, try their luck, go back to Witbank and say, we did it, you guys can do it too. So if I get Princess Mhlongo in studio with me, she doesn't have to wear the school uniform, she's old now, but if I get her here and we start speaking, it will make my day because I will know, for a black child, it is possible. Inkabi is about a former hitman. He's now a cab driver, and he's trying to protect a young woman who witnesses a murder. So basically what happens is that There's this young girl. She loses her child to a foster system because the life she's living, she can't raise her child in that environment. So the foster system takes a child and is like, we'll give you a year to get your life together and then you can have your child back, right? So the kind of job she does is she works at a casino, and one day she meets this white male Russian, and this white male is gambling. And she's like, you look like you have money already. Why would you come here if you don't need money? And the Russian dude is like, money is not important. Sometimes in life, you just have to win. Whatever it is, it's about winning. And the girl was like, no, money is important, because if I had money, I would have a better apartment. I'd have my child back. I'd have a car, and I would stop working in a casino. So somewhere in all of that philosophical talk, they decide they're going to sleep together. Right? So now you have a blesser, right? Sugar daddy. And then you have this young girl. And then Dumisani Dlamini is one of the Nkabis that comes and kills the Russian dude. The emphasis on Dumisani Dlamini is because Dumisani Dlamini is the father of hip-hop star Doja Cat. And Doja Cat, it's a very, very terrible family story I'm going to go into. So Doja Cat, very famous, beautiful girl, great music career. And we all know that, or not we all know, we all assume that Dumisani married the mom and then left them. That's the story that has been fed to us. I was today years old when I discovered that Doja Cat, known as Zandile Dlamini, has an older brother, which means that the father left the family twice. So he went to America. He was part of Sarafina. They were touring. He was like a choreographer, dancer, went into the Americas, found himself a white lady, gave her not one, but 2 children, and then left. And after leaving now, a couple of days ago, because of, I don't know if it's like a generational curse, I don't want to get into that space, but the brother, Raman Dalitando Dlamini, decided to knock out Doja Cat's teeth. So we are not one of those podcasts. We don't do gossip here. I just thought it was a very light, entertaining piece of non-fact that you guys would like to hear as you're driving to work, because it is a Monday and maybe you've got nothing to say to your colleagues. Now you've got something to say to your colleagues. Next week, I will be joined by Portia Hlubi. For those who don't know who Portia Hlubi is, she's done a number of reality shows. She's like a reality show queen. And the reason I would like to have her in studio, besides the amazing work that she has done, is because I don't like Real Housewives of Anywhere. And she happens to produce Real Housewives of Everywhere. So we're going to get her in studio. And then the following week, I will be taking you guys through what a production house does. But for now, it's goodbye. Keep binging. Keep following us on social media. There are a lot of silent stalkers. You know, there's people who will quote verbatim what was said on the podcast, but on the actual page, they don't like, they don't comment, they don't share, and it breaks my heart. So I'm saying be brave, reveal yourself. If you enjoy our show, let us know. Follow us, subscribe. African Couch Potato everywhere. I'm still your host, Gino Shelile. As I said before, goodbye and keep binging.